And welcome everyone to the daily news analysis of 5th of October 2023। तो चलिए आज जितने सारे आर्टिकल्स हैं पहले देख लेते हैं वन बाय वन क्या क्या आर्टिकल्स हैं। पहला जो आर्टिकल है, ट्रायो विंस chemistry novel for quantum dots, then let there be light, keeping tab on carbon with an accounting system, the roller coaster that was the 2023 monsoon, the impact of the Bihar caste survey, the UAPA case against a portal for plot to disrupt sovereignty of India, according to police, the first election since 2019 Ladakh quiz of the registered 77.61% voting. New defense indigenization list has a futuristic weapons system. Then government eases aircraft recovery rules, green shipping plan to position maritime sector as eco-friendly. Page 16. Then what is a uterus transplant and what does it mean to have one? साइंस का पेज है। देन ब्लू वॉकर 3 सैटेलाइट आउट साइंस मोस्ट स्टार्स, ये भी साइंस का पेज है। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। ट्रायो विन केमिस्ट्री नोबेल फॉर क्वांटम डॉट्स। The 2023 Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to Alexei Ekimov, Louis Bruce, and Maungi Bawendi for their work on quantum dots, very small crystal with peculiar properties that have found application in a variety of fields from new age LED screens to quantum computers. Quantum dots are bringing the greatest benefit to humankind, and we have just begun to explore their potential. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences said in a statement on Wednesday, researchers believe that in future quantum dots can contribute to flexible electronics, microscale sensors, slimmer solar cells, and perhaps encrypted quantum communications. Earlier reports emerged that the Nobel Committee had inadvertently revealed the names of the winner in an email accessed by the Swedish press in an unusual break from a tradition in which the identity of the laureates remains a closely guarded secret until the announcement. Quantum dots are crystals just a few nanometers wide, holding only a few thousand atoms. To compare, a single grain of sand can hold around a sextillion atoms. The electron in the dots atoms are very close to each other with little wiggle room at this nanoscale. The effect of quantum mechanics are more apparent when some light is shined on a quantum dot. It will absorb and re-emit it at a different frequency or color. Just like some atoms, uniquely the color depends on the size of the dots. The smaller the dot, the bluer the color of the re-emitted light. The relationship between size and color is the result of electrons in the atoms jumping from a lower to a higher level energy. Before jumping back, the gap between these levels depends on the size of the dot. In the early 1980s, Dr. Ekimov and Dr. Bruce separately synthesized the first quantum dots in glass and a liquid respectively, proving the existence of such crystals and confirming their ability to fluoresce light to different colors based on their size. But they both had a problem. They could not consistently synthesize high quality dots. In 1993, Dr. Bawendi and his team had the answer. They injected small dollops of a compound into a specific solvent until it was saturated and heated the solution. The compound soon began to coalesce into nanocrystal in the liquid with the solvent itself, giving them a smooth shape. Larger crystals formed when the solution was heated for longer. The next जो है editorial का portion है let there be light. Physics novel celebrate techniques to measure changes in electron properties. According to the laws of quantum mechanics, the observable properties of the electron in matter, like a fruit or a rock, change in a few hundred attoseconds. One attosecond is 1 to the power minus 18 second. To study these extremely rapid changes, special tools are needed. Annie L. Collier, Pierre Augustin, and Ferenc Krauss have received the 2023 Physics Nobel Prize for building these tools. From the late 1980s, Dr. L. Collier led several studies that found that an infrared beacon shown on a volume of noble gas produced multiple overtones. Waves whose wavelength was an integer fraction of the original light wave. Her team also observed a peculiar relationship between the original wave's frequency and the intensity of the overtones, and explained it using the existing laws of quantum mechanics. A milestone: if the overtone wave peaks lined up, they would combine to produce a more intense peak. Constructive interference: when one wave's peak coincide with another, though they would cancel themselves out. Destructive interference: physicists realized that this reinforcement is reinforcing effect would be timed such as the gas emitted intense peaks with a pulse duration of a few attoseconds with destructive interference achieving the cutoff. Dr. Agostini and company demonstrated this in 2001 by producing light with a pulse duration of 250 attoseconds. In the same year, Dr. Krauss and company isolated a single pulse of 650 attosecond in duration and used it to measure the kinetic energy of the electron kicked out from the krypton atoms by a bunch of photons. Attosecond physics and had finally arrived. The Medicine Nobel Prize this year celebrated the invention of mRNA vaccine and their effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The utility for people here was straightforward, whereas that for attosecond physics is not. However, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. The specific dynamic of electrons matter in settling with potential immediate value including biochemistry, diagnostics, superconductivity, and manufacturing techniques. Thanks to the laureates' work, scientists have a way to illuminate hitherto unknown possibilities with discoveries of phenomena that live and die in attoseconds. Then again, humans rarely have all the information required to judge whether a particular discovery or invention could be of value later. The 2016 chemistry laureates were feted for building motors with individual molecules fit with no known application at the time, but to achieve it, they devised techniques that improved other areas of chemistry. To paraphrase one of these laureates, Jeff Fraser, stood. There is important value in making something that was hard to do before, easier to do today, and we still have the excitement of finding out what its application might be. Then next, the keeping tabs on carbon with an accounting system. The climate polycrisis, a term made popular by Adam Truth, refer to the interconnected and compounding crises related to the climate change that they are affecting the planet not just in a few sectors but across several sectors and domains. It encompasses the physical impacts of climate change, rising temperature, sea level rise, and extreme weather events, and the social, economic, and political changes that arise from these impacts. In India, one can see the interconnection between seemingly different sectors such as energy, infrastructure, health, migration, and food production that are being impacted by climate change. Recognizing the complexity and interconnectedness of the climate crisis, it is crucial in developing a holistic approach that takes into account the diverse perspectives and priorities of different stakeholders while ensuring resilience, equity, and justice. While it seems easier to pursue our response to climate change in a sectoral fashion is the very nature of a polycrisis means that the tweaking one corner of the climate change challenge leads to unexpected consequences elsewhere. Instead, we need a deep transformation, one that lays the foundation of a new economy that is sensitive to the planet just as a digital infrastructure enables new startups and public services, we need to imagine carbon infrastructure that creates opportunities for a flourishing future carbon regime that takes the flows of carbon into account in the formulation of policy at every level. How household, panchayat districts, state and country. Measurement is the first step. The first step is measurement for whatever cannot be measured, cannot be accounted for. We need to measure carbon emission from that of individual citizens to that of the nation as a whole, including all that is in the flow. Once we have measurement system in place, we can build an accounting system that helps us balance our carbon books. We are all familiar with the financial balance sheet with their sources and their applications. What is the same thing is done for carbon? Existing carbon accounting methodologies such as those championed by Karthik Ramanna at Oxford are already capable of tracking carbon balance sheets at the corporate level. A national carbon accounting (NCA) system is both an evolutionary and a revolutionary generalization of these ideas. It will bring the entire nation, starting from individuals and households, under one carbon accounting framework. This will be a paradigmatic change in the way we look at the all human and non-human activities in the world. This is necessary if we intend to truly internalize carbon reduction goal of the country and the world. Just imagine a world in which we file carbon tax return alongside our income tax return, or maybe only the carbon tax return. Take a moment to consider the revolution in public finance that will be triggered when carbon is recognized, captured, valued, accounted for, and taxed. Carbon accounting. Public finance is the primary mechanism of the development. Governments apportion funds for different developmental activities is competing with the others for exchequers first. The revenue to fund the public exchequer comes from taxes, and that in turn requires that individual entities, business households keep an account of the inflows and outflows of money. Money accounting is an integrated system all the way from the spending of individuals to Reserve Bank of India that helps us keep track of the circular of money within the system. The keeping of accounts makes money visible and makes public finance possible. In contrast, the stocks and follows of carbon are not tracked at a granular level anywhere in the world. As a result, there is no possibility for progressive carbon tax that penalizes large buyers of petrol more than the average consumer. A progressive carbon tax requires us to keep track of the inflows and outflows of carbon. That is, national carbon accounting. Carbon accounting is a way for companies to keep track of the carbon they are producing, removing, storing, and offsetting. It helps companies keep carbon books alongside their financial books. An NCA will bring the concept of carbon books to the nation and will make it mandatory for business and individuals to declare, report their carbon inflows and outflows. It will make the circulation of carbon visible, and just as with financial accounting, other goods and services can be financed using carbon surpluses, especially if there is a convertible between the carbon accounts and the rupee accounts. Once we have an NCA, we will be able to set targets, make predictions about future emission reduction and track our progress against those goals. We can speculate about the future national carbon budget that helps us reimagine the entire economy, including new technology and a new form of collective actions. Instead of single goal of increasing economic GDP in money terms, as we already do, there will be a parallel goal of a carbon GDP which countries will try to reduce. As a policy solution, an NCA will not only help India meet its commitment to becoming net zero by 2070, but also help it in another and other countries it adopted globally create a new livelihood and a new form of organizing its economy and society. Everyone understands GDP growth and more recently alternative measures such as gross national happiness by making transparent the carbon footprints of human activities. We open up the possibilities of a new form of public discourse and an alignment between development and ecological sustainability. In short, an NCA is a poly solution to poly crisis. The next is the roller coaster that was the 2023 monsoon. The official 2023 Southwest monsoon season June to September has ended, though the withdrawal of the monsoon may continue till mid-October. The monsoon season has been erratic. It started with a severe deficit in the initial days of June, turned surplus in many days in July, flooding several northern states, followed by the driest August since 1901, only for record September rains to compensate in leading to a normal monsoon. The India Meteorological Department attributes days with deficient rainfall this season to impact the El Nino and the days of surplus rainfall, especially in September, to the positive Indian Ocean dipole. El Nino is a climate pattern that describes the periodic warming of sea surface temperature in the eastern and central Pacific, which is linked to below the normal monsoon rainfall in India. The IOD is defined by the difference in a sea surface temperature between the western part of the Indian Ocean closer to the Arabian Sea and the eastern part of the Indian Ocean. A positive IOD means that the western part is warmer than average while the eastern part is cooler than average. The positive IOD is associated with above average monsoon rainfall in India. Chart 1 shows the cumulative departure in percentage of rainfall from long period average LPA in India this monsoon season. The LPA is average rainfall received between 1971 and 2020. Departure of 20% or lower points to deficient rainfall, departure of 20% or higher points to surplus rainfall, and anything in between the considered normal. The chart shows how there was a severe deficit in the first 2 weeks of June, which was compensated in July, and a severely dry August was later compensated in September, leading to a normal monsoon in the end. The monthly percentage departure of rainfall from the LPA in India was -9% in June, plus 13% in July, -36% in August, and plus 13% in September, as shown in chart 2. The chart also shows the region-wise split of the monthly departure as well. For instance, the northwest region received excess rainfall in the first 2 months of the monsoon, though it rain a deficit in August. Map 3 shows the meteorological subdivision-wise percentage departure of rainfall from the LPA in India at the end of the monsoon season. The subdivision highlighted eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Gangetic, West Bengal, South Interior, Karnataka and Kerala ended with a deficient rainfall. The subdivisions Saurashtra and Kutch and West Rajasthan ended with a surplus rainfall. The rest of India recorded a normal rainfall within the plus 19% and minus 19% range. The monsoon season many weather agencies along with the IMD had predicted a below normal rainfall as it was an El Nino year, yet it affects Its effects were minimized due to favorable condition in Indian Ocean. Moreover, the Indian monsoon season can be impacted by other regional and global atmospheric patterns as well, such as the Eurasian snow cover chart for snow. The shows the impact El Nino and La Nina had an percentage departure of rainfall from the LPA in the southwest monsoon between the 1950s and 2023. La Nina is a climate pattern that describes the periodic cooling of sea surface temperature in the eastern and the central Pacific that is associated with the surplus rain in India. The chart shows that not all El Nino years result in deficient rainfall and not all La Nina years result in increase, showing that other factors do influence the Indian monsoons. Then next the impact of the Bihar caste survey. On October 2, the Bihar government published the Bihar caste-based survey 2022, which shows that extremely backward classes EBCs and other backward classes OBCs together add up to nearly 63% of the 13 crore population, making it the largest caste group in the state. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who belongs to the OBC Kurmi caste 2.87% and has notched the EBC for his political survival, has had first raised the demand for a caste survey in 2019. How did it, how did it come about? The Bihar legislature unanimously passed a resolution agreeing to a caste census twice, first on February 18, 2019 and then February 27, 2020 on August 23, 2021. An all-party delegation including Bharatiya Janata Party went into Delhi to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi to urge him to conduct a caste census in the country. However, when the Union government later said in the Lok Sabha that as a matter of policy it had decided not to enumerate a caste-wise census, the Bihar government in June 2022 issued notification for conducting a caste survey in the state on its own and subsequently allocated 500 crore from its contingency fund for the exercise. The two-phase counting exercise was completed in August this year, involving around 2.64 lakh enumerators documenting details of 229 million registered households. All 214 castes mentioned in the survey from were elected different individual codes, and the survey was segmented into 17 points to find out the socio-economic profile of the population. What are the outcomes of the survey? The survey shows that the EBC with the 112 caste comprises the largest chunk of the population in the state with 36.01% share with 29 castes and a 27.12% share. The OBC are the second largest. Contingent for population, the Yadavas with the 14.26% share is dominant caste in the OBC group. The scheduled caste population is pegged at 19.65%, while the number of general unreserved population is 15.52%. Will the report lead to an increase in the reservation quota in Bihar? Yes, the reservation quota will be increased in the state as per the population proportion which has come out in the survey report said ruling coalition alliance party राष्ट्रीय जनता दल चीफ लालू प्रसाद जिसकी जितनी भागीदारी उसकी उतनी हिस्सेदारी greater the population greater the share said the ruling grand alliance party leaders, while the opposition BJP leader dubbed the survey as an eyewash and fake and faulty. The census report is likely to pave the way for political demand for doing away with 50% ceiling on reservation imposed by the Supreme Court with the general election just months away. The caste survey of Bihar has impacted the BJP's hopes to electorally cash in on the Women's Reservation Act. The Congress has already demanded that there should be OBC reservation within the quota for women. The BJP, which had earlier supported the caste survey in the state, seems to be now caught in the dilemma party leaders said they were not opposed to the caste survey but that the report has flaws and irregularities. Political experts believe that the caste survey report would weaken Hindutva forces in the upcoming election in the country and the state well as well. The survey report has triggered a national debate over caste composition and is share and no party can afford to ignore it now, said political expert Nawal Kishore Chaudhary in Patna. It will lead to a revival of Mandal versus Commonwealth backward and forward politics in the state, said the another political expert. Will this lead to more welfare scheme? According to expert on the field, the survey report would definitely force political parties to announce and initiate more welfare scheme for poor and marginalized section of the society. The OBC, EBC, SC and STs make up 85% of the total population in the state. How can any political party ignore their welfare? Asked political expert Ajay Kumar, the BJP leader in the state, said their party has always been working for the welfare of this section as the Prime Minister himself comes from the OBC group. Now it will be difficult for those like Chief Minister Nitish Kumar who had carved out the EBC from the OBC under his social engineering plan to remain in power unless he gives EBC real representation in the government and the assembly as well, and said senior state BJP leader. Despite being chief minister since 2005, the EBC has been the real neglected community and the caste survey report is now going hugely impact state politics, BJP leader said. However, ruling coalition party leaders like Nitish Kumar, RJD Chief Lalu Prasad, the Deputy Chief Minister Tejas Yadav have said that they would review the welfare scheme announced by the government for the development of the poor and marginalized sections. What is needed will definitely be done. Then they said significantly the government is yet to release the socio-economic profile of the people surveyed that have they have said that it would be released during the upcoming winter session of the state legislature. Then UAPA case against portal for plot to disrupt the sovereignty of India according to police. A day after the Delhi police arrested Prabir Purkayastha, founder and editor-in-chief of NewsClick, and Amit Chakraborty, human resource head of the news portal, a government source told the Hindu that the police were investigating a terror case that has a Chinese link. The Delhi police submitted in the court that UAPA case was based on secret inputs that foreign funds in crores have been infused illegally into India by Indian and foreign entities with the intention to disrupt the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. The foreign remittances received by the news portal are already being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate since 2021. The sources said that the fresh terror case registered by the special cell of the Delhi police was being investigated. NewsClick, whose office was sealed by the police a day ago, said in a statement on Wednesday that it does not publish any news or information at the behest of any Chinese entities or authority directly or indirectly. NewsClick does not propagate Chinese propaganda on its website, the news portal said. Another official said they were probing if the foreign funds were being used for information welfare. The portal said all funding had been through the appropriate banking channels and had been reported to relevant authorities and required by laws and substantiated by the Reserve Bank of India in proceeding before the High Court of Delhi. The ED has accused the company of money laundering, claiming that the portal received 77 crore as foreign remittances between the year 2018 and 2021. Meanwhile, the Delhi's Patiala House Court on Wednesday passed no order on an application filed by Mr. Purkayasthas to meet his lawyer, additional session judge Hardeep Kaur earlier on Tuesday night had remanded Mr. Purkayastha and Mr. Chakravarti, also a shareholder in the company, in 7 days police custody in the connection with a case lodged under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act UAPA. Advocate Arshdeep Singh, which appeared for the accused, argued that they have a right to get the FIR copy by citing Section 41B CRPC, right of arrested person to meet an advocate of his choice during interrogation. The court decided to hear on Thursday the matter of the supply of FIR copy, but ordered that a copy of the remand of order should be provided to both the accused. Secret inputs. Inputs. The police accused the NewsClick founder of holding discussion with Neville Roy Singham, an active member of propaganda department of Communist Party of the China, to distort the map of India by projecting Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh as disrupted territory. The police said they had recovered around 4.73 lakh emails around the accused need to be confronted and interrogated on unearthed the conspiracy. Incidentally, the Delhi police registered the affair after the New York Times published a report on August 8 that the portal received money from Mr. Singham, the American businessman, to spread Chinese propaganda. According to the police, the ED also registered a second case against the NewsClick on August 14 following the NYT report, and during investigation the agency seized electronic gadgets from the suspects. It said the data extracted by the ED was stored in 5 hard disks, and the analysis of which revealed a larger conspiracy that the accused persons, along with accused Neville Roy Singham, conspired to create disaffection among various sections of the society, and they have also found to actively sympathizing with banned terrorist organization. The police said the accused received 115 crore foreign funds. A false narrative has been propagated to discredit the efforts of the Indian government to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. The police said secret inputs revealed that Purkayastha, Neville Roy Singham, and some other Chinese employees of Neville Roy Singham owned Shanghai-based company by the name of the Star Stream have exchanged mails which expose their intent to so Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh is not part of the intended towards undermining the unity and territorial integrity of India. The police application in the court seeking 15 days remand of the accused said. The next day, in the first election since 2019, Ladakh is of registered 77.61%. With Pakistani peaks overlooking the polling booth in once war battered zone of Kargil, the fifth Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Kargil election witnessed a massive 77.61% turnout on Wednesday in the first ever polls since Ladakh was carved out as a union territory in 2019. The polling, which started at 8 a.m. and ended by 4 p.m., marks a quantum jump from around 70% polling recorded during the 2018 council election. According to an official, in all 85 candidates are in the fray for the 26-member Hill Council, with Congress fielding the highest number at 2020, followed by 17 each from the National Conference (NC) and the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP). The BJP is facing an uphill task against the NC Congress combined. There are 24 candidates who are contesting as independent in this election, which will reflect the mood of people on the center's move to grant UT status to Ladakh. Companies Leh and Kargil district. Kargil has a Population of 1.08 lakh and around 65,878 voters with Shia Muslim population in a majority. P polling booths were viewed with men and women since morning at Kargil's Kaksar village, located at an altitude of 14,000 feet. Muzaffar Ali, 51, a voter in Kaksar, described the first ever poll held under the Union Territory of the Ladakh, carved out from the J&K in 2019 as a significant and decisive. Villagers dislocated during the 1999 Kargil War. Kaksar village saw the dislocation of the entire local population because of the incessant of Pakistan selling from the peaks nearby, overlooking the highland plateau. The ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan has brought relief to local. We welcome it, Mr. Ali said. He is, however, critical of the center's move to separate Kargil from the Kashmir and says it was not the right move. We believe statehood and the provision of Article 370 should be returned to us, Mr. Ali added. Bilkis Nasrin, 19, a student who is also a first-time voter from Kaksar village, which has over 600 voters, said she voted for a strong Hill Council that upgraded the poor education sector by getting more professional colleges to Kargil. A majority of voters in the Kargil district expressed resentment over the center's decision to bifurcate J&K into two UTs. I am an Indian. People of Dras helped the army fight the Pakistan Army in 1999, but Dras sees its identity closer to Kashmir, where we have a centuries-old link. Restoring Article 370 will help in protecting our identity. Gaya Sudin, a shopkeeper at the world's second oldest place, Dras said, in Hunderman, overlooking the village of the Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. Voters said the government is unmoved by the water crisis faced due to the dip in the snowfall. The next, a new defense indigenization list has futuristic weapons system. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh on Wednesday released the fifth positive indigenization list of 98 items to be procured by the three services from domestic sources in a staggered manner on specified timelines. He also released the Navy updated indigenization roadmaps Problem 2.0. The Department of Military Affairs compiled the list after several rounds of consultation with all stakeholders, the Defense Ministry said in a statement. It lays special focus on import substitution of components of a major system. Besides important platforms, weapon systems, sensors, and munitions which are being developed and likely to translate into firm order in the next 5 to 10 years, it is said. And at the plenary session of Problem 2.0, the two-day seminar of the Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization (NIO), Mr. Singh launched 76 challenges for the industry under the 10th Defense India Startup Challenges Disc 10 and Disc 10 Prime of Innovations for the Defense Excellence IDEX and 5 problem statement under IDEX for Fauji. In addition to Indus X challenges under Indus X mutual promotion of Advanced Collaborative Technology Impact Challenge jointly finalized by IDEX and the US Department of Defense were launched a special interactive session for the industry to explain the nuances of the roadmap is planned on day 2 of the seminar. The items on the indigenization list include futuristic infantry combat vehicle, articulated all-terrain vehicles, several types of unmanned aerial vehicles, medium-range precision kill system for artillery, test equipment for guided weapon system for T-90SK tanks, radar, armor plates for cabin nose sections for Mi-17 helicopter, automated mobile test system for USA AKM Air Defense System gravity rulers for Mi-17V5 helicopter and flares of P-81 and MiG-29 K aircraft. The department had earlier promulgated four such lists of 411 military items. This is in addition to the four lists for defense public sector undertaking. At the event, Navy Chief Admiral R. Harikumar said that last year the Navy sought solution to 75 challenges, received more than 1,000 responses, declared 118 winners under Disc 7 Sprint and Sprint Prime, and concluded over 100 technological developmental agreements. Next, government EJS aircraft recovery rules. In a big relief for aircraft lessors, the government has notified that the protection afforded to a corporate debtor from recovery of dues under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 will not cover aircraft, helicopter, and engines. If implemented retros- retrospectively, the move may impact the go fast insolvency resolution proceedings under which the National Company Law Tribunal had granted it a blanket moratorium in May to shield it from ledger and creditors and also restrained the DGCA from accepting any application for deregistration of the aircraft from any ledger. GoFast had 54 aircraft in its fleet and lesser of nearly all aircraft had sought deregistration of their assets over pending dues. A senior DCGA official said that it is legally examining the government notification before deciding on deregistration. Following the NCLT's May order granting a blanket moratorium, Leisure also approved the Delhi High Court to seek access to their aircraft. They argued that the moratorium was contravention of the Cape Town Convention and Protocol of 2001 to which India is also a signatory. The convention states that in the event of a default, the lessor can terminate the agreement and take possession of the leased assets. The latest notification is welcome move. Lessor will now have to move NCLT or other court and seek registration and export of their aircraft, said Nitin Sarin, managing partner at Sarin and Co. In its second downgrade for India since May due to the ongoing Go Fast matter, a global aviation leasing watchdog, the Aviation Working Group assigned the country a negative outlook. This means India Airline leasing aircraft may have to pay a premium due to difficulties encountered by lessors to secure their assets. Then green shipping plan to position maritime sector as eco-friendly. The National Action Plan for Green Shipping promoting eco-friendly practices and incentives for low-emission ships will help position India's maritime sector as environmentally responsible. Director General of Shipping Syam Jagannathan said India's maritime sector will play a pivotal role in achieving a 20 trillion economy by 2047 with a 9% projected growth rate. Mr. Jagannathan said in his inaugural address at the INMEX SMM India 2023 Maritime Industry Exhibition on Wednesday. The sector's vision encompasses quadrupling port capacity, clean energy, fuel hub, cruise tourism growth, shipbuilding and recycling leadership, and a 5,000-kilometer regional waterway grid, he added. Then let's say what is a uterus transplant and what does it mean to have one? Unlike heart or liver transplant, uterus transplant are not life-saving transplant. Instead, second, They are more akin to limb or skin transplant, which improve the quality of individual lives. Uterus transplant can help women who lack a uterus fulfill their reproductive needs. On August 23, doctors at the Churchill Hospital, Oxford in the UK, conducted the country's first uterus transplant. They removed the uterus from a 40-year-old woman and transplanted it to her 34-year-old sister who had a rare condition that affected her ability to reproduce. According to the BBC, while the womb was functional, only a live birth in the near future can prove that the transplant succeeded. Isabel Quiroga, the lead surgeon involved in the procedure, he has said, "What is a uterus transplant? Unlike heart or liver transplant, uterus transplant are not life-saving transplants. Instead, they are more akin to limb or skin transplant, which improve the quality of the individual lives. Uterus transplant can help women who lack a uterus to fulfill their reproductive needs." In 2014, as a part of initiative led by the chair of the obstetrics and gynecology department at the University of Gothenburg, Mats Banstorm, the first live birth after a uterus transplant took place in Sweden. The success signaled that the procedure could reverse the consequences of uterine factor infertility. 9 women in Sweden received transplanted wombs donated by relatives in the Brandstone program. According to the news report, the doctors now aim to make the procedure more affordable. At present, the National Health Survey cost of surgery in the UK is estimated at the GBP 25,000, that is 25.26 lakh rupees. India is one of a few countries to have had a successful uterine transplant. Others include Turkey, Sweden, and the US. India is the first uterine transplant baby was born on October 18, 2018, 17 months after the recipient had undergone the procedure. The cost of the surgery is currently 15 to 70 lakh in 17 lakh in India. What are the steps for transplant? According to research paper published by the American Journal of Transplantation and the Journal of Clinical Medicine, before transplantation, the recipient is evaluated for good physical and mental health. Similarly, whether the uterus is from a deceased or a live donor, it is checked for viability before it qualifies for donation. Live donors also undergo gynecological examination including CT and MRI scans. They are also screened for uterine cancer, including tests for human papillomavirus and Papanicolau smear and an endometrial biopsy. The procedure does not connect the uterus to the fallopian tubes, which ensures the ovum from the ovaries moves to the uterus, so the individual can't become pregnant through the natural means. Instead, doctor remove the recipient's ova, create embryos using the vitro fertilization and freeze them embryos, aka cryopreservation. Once the newly transplanted uterus is ready, the doctors implant the embryos in the uterus. Once the transplant has been cleared, the uterus is carefully removed from the donor. The advent of robust assisted laparoscopy has rendered the procedure less invasive. The uterus has harvested together with its blood vessels, the aerial and venous vasculature. The network vessels connecting the heart to the other organs and the tissues in the body, consisting to the deep uterine artery, the internal iliac arteries, the deep uterine vein, and the internal iliac veins are removed from the either side. Surgeons also divide a part of the utero branch to keep the ovarian vein from preserving the ovaries. Surgeons also remove the fallopian tube and do not use them in the graft for donor to prevent pregnancies outside of uterus. With the recipient, the surgeon link up the muscle, cartilage, tendon, and arteries, veins, and other blood vessels so that the uterus functions normally. Post-transplant pregnancy, like surgeons determine that the transplant success in the three stages. The recipient's chance of losing the graft is highest in the first 3 months. So this is when doctors keep a tab on the graft viability 6 months to 1 year after the procedure. Doctors check for the proper functioning of the uterus. Regular menstruation is considered a good sign. In this period, the recipient can attempt to conceive only after this phase. In the first step, the pregnancy doctor transfer embryos prepared by in vitro fertilization and cryopreserved to the recipient's uterus. Just as with the pregnancies after the transplant of other organs, among women there is a higher risk that the body will reject the uterus or the spontaneous abortion, intrauterine death, low birth weight, or premature birth. So frequent checkups and follow-ups are mandatory for women with a transplanted uteri. The final stage of success is, of course, successful childbirth. Are the are there side effects to prevent the recipient's body from the rejecting the transplanted uterus? The recipient needs to take drugs that suppress the immune system. These drugs are selected such that they won't harm fetal development at any stage from the uterus transplant until it is removed after childbirth. These immunosuppressants are crucial, but they do have other side effects, including toxicity and the kidney and the bone marrow. They also carry a higher risk of developing diabetes and cancer. For these reasons, the uterus must be removed later. The recipient is recommended regular follow-ups with doctors for at least a decade after the uterus is removed to look out for potential long-term side effects of immunosuppressant. Are there artificial uteri? Successful uterus transplants have opened the door to new possibilities, including transplanting uteri from deceased donor progress, a process that has rarely succeeded. This could avoid the stigma and ethical concerns associated with utilizing a live donor for uterus transplant, which subjects a healthy person to medical procedures that can harm them for the benefit of another, especially when it is not a life-saving condition. In contrast to decrease deceased donation, where the donor remains unharmed, Dr. Brandstrom and his team at the University of Gothenburg are also working on creating a bioengineered artificial uterus. Such an entity could simplify the transplant process by the eliminating the need for live donor as well as the side step that debates about the ethics of using such organs. According to a May 2017 paper authored by Dr. Branston to make a bioengineered uterus, researchers start with a small clump of stem cell taken from the woman's blood or bone marrow and use it as the foundation for the 3D scaffold. New cells are added to this scaffold to build up a uterus. These experiments are still in their early stages. Preliminary results with rats have shown some promise. Dr. Branstorm and his colleague has estimated that it will be about a decade before artificial uteri will reach the efficiency and safety sufficient for human use. When it does, the advantages could extend to women as well as a member of LGBTQ community. However, trans women recipients, for example, will still need to undergo constant castration to create an artificial vagina, a process complicated by the fact that it involves hormones, male hormones such as the androgens can threaten a pregnancy, requiring the administration of high dosage of counteracting exogenous hormones. Even then, there are concerns about ensuring consistent blood flows to support the developing fetus, as the structure required for a uterus and for fetal development is not present in the male body. Then आज की जो लास्ट आर्टिकल है वो है ग्लो अकर थ्री सैटेलाइट आउटशाइंस मोस्ट स्टार्स. An international team of scientists, including from Imperial College London, have published a paper in Nature Journal detailing the impact of a prototype Blue Walker 3 satellite on astronomy. The Blue Walker 3 is a prototype satellite part of satellite constellation planned by its own owner, AST Space Mobile, intended to deliver mobile or broadband services anywhere in the world. Observation of a blue Walker 3 showed it was one of the brightest objects in the night sky, outshining all but the brightest star. The researchers said several companies around the world have envisaged such satellite constellations. However, owing to their location closer to the Earth location and relatively large size, their potential to disrupt night sky observations is higher, which is why astronomers are raising concerns around these constellation or grouping of satellites. The pristine night sky is also an important part of humanity's shared cultural heritage and should be protected for society as at large and for future generations, said Dave Clement from the Department of Physics at Imperial. Observation taken within weeks of Blue Walker 3's launch in September 2022 showed that the satellite was among the brightest objects in the sky. These observations were supported by data from the professional and amateurs from sites across the world, including those in Chile and US, Mexico, and Ototeoria, New Zealand. The data was also used to calculate the satellite's trajectory over time that could help astronomers to try and avoid them or at least know where they will be in the data. However, mitigating against the brightness is difficult beyond masking their position and losing data for the portions of sky. The researchers said further because the Blue Walker 3 uses wavelength close to those that radio telescope observing the satellite could also hamper radio astronomy. Blue Walker 3 actively transmit at radio frequencies that are close to band reserved for radio astronomy and existing observatory protections from radio interference may not be sufficient. Further research is therefore required to develop strategies for protecting existing and upcoming telescopes from the numerous satellites planned for launch over the next decade, said Mike Peel, co-leader co-lead of the CPS Sathab, which was envisaged as a new comprehensive worldwide coordinated and public observing initiative. One of its components include astronomical data repository. While the researchers recognized that satellite constellations are important for improving worldwide communications, they say that their interference with astronomical observations could severely hamper their progress in understanding of the cosmos. Their deployment should therefore be conducted with due consideration of their side effect and with efforts made to minimize their impact on the astronomy, they said in their paper. So friend, this is all for today and we will meet from tomorrow onwards. Though tomorrow will be, I mean, थोड़ा लेट से DNA होगा, मतलब शाम के 8-9 बजे हो जाएगा. तो कल के लिए थोड़ा सॉरी. I hope you will all support for this and thank you all.